All right. Hi again, everybody. Terry Vanderbeck here with Sanford Health, coming to you from the Sanford Pentagon. We are joined today by an esteemed guest, Mr. Kyle Rudolph, one of our favorites, one of our Sanford athletes, and one of the nicest dudes you're going to want to meet. So, Kyle, welcome. Glad to have you. Good to see you again.
Thanks, Terry. I appreciate you guys having me on. Looking forward to chatting.
Yeah, absolutely. Last time we got to chat was in person. This time, obviously, different circumstances. We were looking forward to having you here in June for the local newspapers awards banquet. That whole thing got blown up. It's been a weird couple months for everybody, and pro athletes as both human beings and athletes have been not immune to that. So, what's the experience been like for you over these last couple months?
It's definitely been an adjustment. Early on in March, April, we wouldn't be together as a team, but we'd still be training on our own. And, for me, that consists of still going to the facility every day, getting workouts in with our strength coaches, maybe bumping into football coaches, but still being around the building and seeing people and talking to people. Obviously, when they shut down NFL facilities towards the beginning of April, I no longer could get to the facility, and I got the tonal at the house. And tonal has been like, it hasn't been like, it is a home gym for me. And I just finished my 6th week. I can't believe we've been stuck at home for 6 weeks, but I just finished my 6th week on the tonal, and it's been an absolute lifesaver for me. My first 2 days of quarantine, I was doing sit-ups, push-ups, bodyweight squats, lunges, like old school, no equipment, and that wouldn't have been productive for 6 weeks. So thank God I was able to get my tonal installed, and I haven't missed a whole lot in terms of training.
Yeah, for people who don't know, that's the digital-based home weight system. Google it.
Mm-hmm.
I promise you, they're not paying me money to ask Kyle about this. I saw it on social media. It's like, I'm really curious to see. As long as we're product placing, I bought a TRX, and that's been for me. It's been a very different, change of pace, different deal. You're skeptical that it's not going to be a great workout, and that after it kicks your butt a couple times, you're like, man, maybe there's more than one way to skin a cat, as they say.
Yeah, absolutely. And for us, we're fortunate, as a professional athlete, I have a few pieces of cardio equipment in the gym downstairs, and to be able to add a piece of equipment like the tonal, that really gives me the ability to do every exercise that I'd be doing in the weight room. And it only takes up about 6 feet by 6 feet because we're a little limited on space in the gym downstairs. It's been nice. I don't have to have dumbbells and free weights everywhere. I literally get the exact same workout in on my tonal. And like I said, it was a lifesaver. It has been a lifesaver for me these last 6 weeks because, I don't know what I would have been doing. And even hopping on, we have TRX straps, but, for doing body weight exercises, it can only carry you for so long. And, who would have thought we'd be at home for 6+ weeks? Who knows when this is going to be over. So I've been very fortunate to be able to have the tonal here and be able to get really, really good workouts on it.
Yep. So speaking of that, and for hopefully the high school and college athletes that are watching this, it's been challenging because you're not Kyle Rudolph. You don't have the home equipment, and you've been limited, and it's been difficult. One of the schools we work with a lot, Kyle, Harrisburg High, they've been getting after it, man. That's got to be, they've got their Zoom workouts. Sometimes I'm watching their coach Ronnie do the workouts with them, and there's 60, 80, almost 100 kids. The AD's there, the head coaches are checking in. That's not easy to do as a 16-year-old kid, right? I mean, even for where you're at right now, you might not have been able to do that. That's pretty impressive, and people should give themselves credit for that.
It's really impressive, and for those guys, it's my job to work out. That a lot of people aren't able to go to work right now, and they work from home. So I look at it as I'm no different than them. I have to find a way to work at home, and for me, that's training. For those high school kids, it's not their job to train. It's their job to be on for class, distance learning, do things like that. Being a student is their job. And so to hear that they're able to get their workouts in and they're grinding, it's really cool to hear. And, I got to give them credit because, like I said, they have so many other things that they have to do throughout the course of their day. So to know that they're still getting their workouts in virtually is really cool.
Yeah, let's dig into that a little bit. One of the other pieces that we've really committed our time on the Sanford sports side to being a resource for athletes during this. This is unprecedented stuff, and it's not only the workout, it's finding ways to get better, learning how to cook, learning how to eat clean, and learning how to deal with the emotions that have gone along with all of this. If you wouldn't mind being vulnerable for a minute, what's that been like for you? Have there been challenges? If so, what have those challenges been, just from an attitude standpoint, a mental standpoint, the uncertainty, or trying to feel like you're trying to stay ready, but you're not able to stay ready the way that you normally would?
Yeah, no, it definitely, like I said, from a calendar standpoint, the back half of March, the beginning of April, we wouldn't be getting together as a team anyways. So it wasn't that foreign to me. To training at home was different, but not being together in a group setting wasn't that different. And then once we got into mid-April and I was supposed to be going to the facility every day and we were supposed to be in meetings, we were supposed to be working out and training as a team, that's when it felt a little weird because it wasn't normal anymore. And for me, I've just always had the mindset that, who knows when this is going to end. But the one thing that I can control is when this does end, that I'm physically and that I'm mentally ready to go back to work. So if next week they call us and say, hey, the following Monday we're starting back up, I don't have to freak out and try to get myself in shape in 1 week and then all of a sudden, dive into my playbook because I'm, 6 weeks behind everybody else. I'm staying stride for stride as if I'm going to the facility each and every day. Obviously, you have to adapt and you have to adjust things physically, but mentally, I'm still able to prepare myself as if I'm sitting in the same 90-minute meeting that I'd be sitting in at the facility.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. The other great thing is, and one of the things we love about working with you, Kyle, and probably one of the reasons we work with you, is that you're not defined by football. That may be why people here know you, but you're bigger than that. You're a family guy. You had time with your kids and your wife. You may not have gotten. You have time on the golf course. You're doing Zooms with Notre Dame. So you're putting yourself out there, and at the same time you're upping your philanthropic game, which is something you're passionate about. Talk about the inspiration to do that specifically right now, and what kind of ways or what kind of aspects you felt have been important to contribute that's specific to a really unusual time.
Yeah, when the crisis hit and, we tried to figure out, who are the people that are most at need. Second Harvest Heartland is a food bank that we've done work with here in the Twin Cities before. So we knew all the great things that they were already doing. And we knew the stress that this pandemic would put on them and the added volume that it would bring them. So, for us growing up as kids, my wife and I, we never had to worry if we didn't have school, we would still have food. That's not always the case for kids here in the Twin Cities or kids across the country. And when you take all these kids out of school, they're oftentimes now food insecure because they're relying on those school meals to eat. And then you talk about mom or dad, not getting paychecks anymore. Maybe they were already in that food insecure category, and now there's a lot of added stress. So we wanted to start a campaign to try to raise as much money as we could, setting a goal of $200,000 to raise over 500,000 meals for families and kids here in the Twin Cities. And then my wife also wanted to kind of gain momentum on a lot of the work that we've already done at the hospital. We love our space at the hospital, and the end zone is a great place for these kids to go and escape and get away from the reasons why they're there. But obviously right now they can't go to that space. They're not able to leave their room. So she tried to get as many people together as she could and get them new games, new activities, puzzles, you name it, things that we can give them brand new that they can keep in their room. And although they can't leave their room, at least they have something exciting and fun to do in their room that'll take their mind off of being in there and not being able to get to the end zone.
Wives are the best, aren't they? my wife
Absolutely.
School teacher, and so she's had to try and teach her own class distance learning, and make sure our 4 kids are on task with their distance learning. So that's God bless them all, man.
I have a incredibly high respect for the teachers in this distance learning. I was on a Google Meet the other day with a 1st grade class, a 3rd grade class, and a 4th grade class. And, you know, a lot of my Zooms, Google Meets, Microsoft Teams have been, you know, either with college age students or adults. And when you have 20 to 25 1st graders on one, it definitely heightened my respect for a lot of these teachers out there.
No doubt. Getting back to the philanthropy again, I think it was about a year ago that you first came to the Sanford Children's Hospital and got to know the radiothon. Unfortunately, that radiothon date has had to move a couple times this year.
Mm-hmm.
Push-up challenge involved with one of the young cancer survivors, and we've got a lot of interactions with. But what do you remember about that day? Again, you've been around plenty of healthcare organizations, plenty of kids and families. Anything stood out to you from that experience, though?
Well, for me, it was just pulling up to the castle, if you would. You know, when you're driving into town and you can see it, and you're like, man, this is just the coolest children's hospital. And then once you get in the facility, the staff, the volunteers, everybody was so nice and welcoming and incredibly gracious. And then you get to meet the patients and their families. And, you know, that's why we do the stuff that we do here in Minnesota at the Children's Hospital. You know, that's why you do any of these kinds of things. It's because of the patients and their families. So when I got to meet a few of the patients and their families, it's just, you know, it brings so much perspective to me and to my family, because you realize what some of these people have gone through or what they're currently going through. So it was so much fun for me to be able to spend a day there and try to help raise some money for the hospital.
That's one of those reasons why you were perennial in the running for the Walter Payton Man of the Year. So kudos to you on that. Last question for you before I let you go. I know you've got plenty of other stuff. And Frank, I haven't heard any kids yelling yet. You must have your twins in check.
The twins are down for a nap, but I'm surprised you haven't heard him yet. He's a terror. I mean, he's right at that age.
Yeah, there's still definitely uncertainty, though, as you alluded to, around getting back to normal life, but also getting back to fans, no fans. You know, the NBA talking about playing in a campus setting or in a dome. You know, lots of scenarios still out there. If you wouldn't mind framing it as a way that kids can model their own approach to that, how are you approaching the uncertainty, and how do you encourage young athletes to just kind of try and be flexible enough to roll with the punches as we move forward?
Well, somebody said this to me not long ago when I was doing a podcast, a good buddy of mine that played 10 years in the league and is retired now, when we were talking about that exact situation. And one of the things that he said was, this is such a great opportunity for, you know, high school, college, you know, for me as a professional athlete. You know, so much of our off seasons are structured and everybody's doing the same thing. So, you know, for us, you know, I use my tight end group as an example. You know, we're working out together. We're at practice together. We're going against, you know, our defense. You know, we're not going to have that this year. So it really gives you an opportunity to separate yourself, because you're not going to be in the same environment. And, you know, you're a product of your environment. So what a great opportunity for high school athletes, college athletes, professional athletes to separate themselves this off season by working harder than anyone else and doing things that other people are not doing. And, you know, that's something that stuck with me throughout this whole quarantine, and kind of the way that I try to approach each and every day.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. Okay, big thanks to Kyle Rudolph. Kyle, again, we can't wait to see you in person, but I really appreciate you taking the time. Again, we're trying to help a lot of people through this from an athletic standpoint. It may not be life or death, but it's important and meaningful to a lot of people. And so we greatly appreciate your contributions to that. Glad to hear you and the family are well. And we look forward to seeing you on the field here, hopefully real soon too, huh?
Thanks, Terry. I appreciate you guys for having me.
All right, thanks, Kyle. Perfect. That's all we needed, man. Hey, thank you so much.
Awesome.
Great.
Yeah, my pleasure.
All right, we'll be in touch. Take care.
Yeah, have a good one.
You, Sam.